again, it is Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit. Talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week, and we are so glad that you have joined us. Steve Post here in our Concord, North Carolina studios, joining us from the Lethal Chassis Studios in Mifflintown, Pennsylvania, Ashley Stremme. Hello, Ashley. How are you?
Steve, well, when this airs, we'll know if I'm in a better position or not. But fingers crossed, the icebreaker is happening Thursday, so everything's great thus far.
Yeah, we record this early in the week, but Pennsylvania Posse folks are ready to go racing. So when this airs, maybe we'll have a race in the books up there at the fabulous Lincoln Speedway. It is really, really cool. Later in the program, we're going to talk about the sprint car feature at the Daytona 500. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. It was a loaded-up sprint car feature, but before we get to that, we got a great guest. Robbie Price is going to join us, and Ashley, Robbie Price is paired up with one of our favorite people for his World of Outlaw run.
It is so true. He jumped in Jason's side 7S last year and had a decent year, but really had a phenomenal showing with the World of Outlaws at Volusia. I literally had people coming up to me going, "Who's this Robbie Price kid?" So he's making his name known already this year. Top 10 runs at Volusia and just pairing up with Jason. Jason's such a good guy. It'll be awesome to see what happens this year.
Really, truly will be. He's a third-generation racer. He's from Vancouver, or he's from up in British Columbia, Vancouver Island. I was looking at a map. I mean, this is bonkers where he's from. He's not near Knoxville. He's not near central Pennsylvania. He's got to ride a boat to get to Skagit, for Pete's sakes, and yet here he is running the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Tour. So looking forward to catching up with Robbie Price here on Wing Nation, and we will do that here in just a moment. Stay with us. Robbie Price joins us next. The Outlaws are headed back to the Pacific Northwest. Join us for 3 action-packed nights of racing August 31st, September 1st, and 2nd at Skagit Speedway when the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars return for the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals. Kickoff for the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals begins Wednesday, August 30th with a pre-race party, live band, Sage Fruit apple giveaways, and more. Then catch Donnie Schatz and the rest of the World of Outlaws as they take on Washington's best sprint car drivers Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. Details at SkagitSpeedway.com. Welcome back. It is Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit. We love talking sprint car racing and love catching up with our next guest. He is a racer for the Kevin Gobrecht Rookie of the Year competition with the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. He's driving for Jason Sides in the number 7S car. Joining us from the great state of Washington, Robbie Price joins us. Hello, Robbie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We are well. Driving for Jason Sides... ... Well, how is it like driving for Jason Sides?
It's good. It's good. It's a lot of fun. We take it as serious as anybody else, and then sometimes not as much after the races. But besides that, it's pretty good. We're pretty well behaved nowadays. So at least Jason has anyhow, and I wasn't too much anyhow before I came to this deal. So I definitely I let loose sometimes, but try and keep a level head most of the time.
All right, Robbie, let's talk about this because Steve and I both are huge Jason Sides fans. Great dude. Obviously, he started to step away. You jumped in the car last year. You're going full-time with the World of Outlaws this year. How did this combination really come together?
Yeah, last year Jason said that he was out with an injury and everything like that. So he put that little press release out, and I made a couple of phone calls, and we hammered a deal out for last year, and then we ran really good together, some races and everything like that. So I think he was happy with it, and he got his hip replaced this winter, and he's back to normal pretty well on that. He's walking around a lot better, but I still don't know if he's 100% ready to get back behind the wheel. So we put another deal together for the full meal deal this year. So we're gonna try and take a swing at it.
When you look at last year, looking at the numbers here, 34 starts, I think, A-Main starts with the World of Outlaws. You had a couple top 5 finishes. You kind of assess how the season unfolded, those top 5 finishes, and how you guys progressed as you got acquainted with each other.
Yeah, the first race I went out to run was Attica, and obviously everybody that's ran Attica or seen Attica, it's a whole other animal. So it didn't get off to too spectacular of a start. We struggled a little bit there, but that's obviously learning a new car, new place, and everything like that. So once we got, to the Midwest and everything like that, we ran a lot of shorter places, and we kind of got the ball rolling really good. And then the middle part of the season's a lot of half-mile stuff, like Williams Grove, Port Royal, Knoxville, and everything like that. So that was just kind of, again, learning. And then we got back to the short track stuff and really hit our stride again. So we ran really good at, Grand Forks, Skagit. Elmo we ran decent at, but, the results don't really show with a small issue in the heat race. And then we went down to Chico, and that one was the driver's fault. We were running third there on the prelim night, and I spun it out, but I take full credit for that one. Nobody to blame there, but that kind of ruined the whole weekend. And then down to Hanford and everything, like we weren't terrible. And then again, back to the half-mile stuff, we ran Eldora and Port Royal a couple more times and rounded it off with the World Finals. And those were a lot of places that I have zero or little seat time. So again, we were back to learning. So hopefully when we go back to those places this year, we get a lot better.
Well, 2023 started off with a half mile at Volusia, and Robbie, you looked incredibly good there. The speed was there, a couple top 10 finishes. What have you found? What made Volusia different this year, and what are your goals and expectations for 2023?
Yeah, we were good at Volusia for the Outlaw shows. We were not very good for the All-Star shows, so we were good when it counted. We made some changes after learning some stuff the first two nights, and that kind of seems to be the way things go. Even last year, we were at Eldora for 4 nights, and halfway through the 4th night, I finally felt comfortable. So it's just kind of one of those deals where, you got to have a couple races in to learn the car and learn what I need out of the car and what I need to do different. So we were good, and I'm looking forward to going back to Volusia. As far as goals go, I'd like to, not run as many B mains as I did last year, try and get in through the heat race. And then it seems to be in the A main, I've become reverse hard charger. So we need to start, being able to not go backwards and pass a couple cars in the A main and, put together 30 or 40 good laps and just pass some cars.
There's no half-mile racetracks up in the upper Northwest, which is where you're from, which is where you've done your racing. Is there a specific challenge you've had with the half-mile racetracks? And I know they're motor tracks. I know you've got equipment things that you got to catch up with as well. But are there some driving things that you've had to learn with the air, with the wind, with the wing speed, and that sort of thing?
That's really it. Is a lot of dirty air racing. Out here we don't get that as much. But, out of places, the half-mile tracks, somewhere like that, you get your air taken away from you, getting in the corner, it can get ugly. So that's the really big thing that I've been struggling with is just how to race in dirty air and where to put the car and how to keep the car planted.
All right, so after Volusia, obviously there's pretty much a few weeks off, a month almost. You told us off air that you're in Washington helping Shark Engines right at the moment. Do you wish that there wasn't such this gap between the last time you race and the next time you'll race?
Yeah, a little bit. But again, it's good to come home. I know I won't be home for, a couple months after we get going. So it's nice to come back and relax and tie up some loose ends I got and everything like that. But I'm ready to go. I'm looking forward to racing weekend, or, some midweek shows maybe too, whatever they got going on. So it's I've looked at the schedule. It's a tough schedule this summer, so hopefully it goes well for us.
Robbie, Ashley is sitting in Mifflintown, Pennsylvania. If you had a really good arm from their shop, you could hit Port Royal Speedway. You're a Washington or Vancouver, British Columbia driver. What was your impressions of rolling in there and maybe not even the racetracks, just the crowds, the energy, the excitement as you have been introduced to the Pennsylvania posse?
Oh, they're incredible. The first thing that caught me off guard was driving through town to get there. People can see the racetrack from their house. So it was cool, and obviously everybody loves the Pennsylvania fans. They're diehard for sure. So you won't find a bigger fan base out there. So it's great. I love going up to Pennsylvania, and there's a lot of cool people that come up with pictures of the car. Even when I was there from 2018 with the national tour, people would come by with pictures and have me sign them and everything like that. So it's really cool. They're diehard. They're a different breed out there, and it's really cool to see sprint cars thriving out there.
See, you say they're different breed. Some people tilt their head sideways, and Ashley lights up and smiles. So it's that's what they are, that's for sure. And we would not want to have it any other way. Robbie, stay there with us. Everyone else, stick around. We're going to have more with Robbie Price in just a moment.
So how's that new Mahindra tractor, Tony?
To be honest, Chase, there's nothing more satisfying than working my land with this Mahindra. Well, nothing outside of being Rookie of the Year. winning 62 races, 3 Cup Series championships, securing dozens of sponsorship deals, and getting inducted to the Hall of Fame, getting married to a wonderful woman, owning a racing team, hanging out in my trophy room, awesome stuff.
Yeah, what? Can't hear you.
Mahindra, the official tractor of Tough and Stewart-Haas Racing.
Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit, continues on, and we are loving chatting with Robbie Price here. He is a third-generation racer from up in Vancouver, British Columbia, and he is driving for Jason Sides on the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car. Okay, so now we've got that sprint car stuff out of the way. Okay, I probably met you the first time I met you. I might have met you before it, but I met you. I went up to Skagit, and Mark Huron, I guess it is, or is Mark Huson? Yeah, he has an engine shop up there, Shark Racing Engines, and they had a salmon feed. So, are you guys still consuming the salmon up there in the upper Northwest?
Oh yeah, the fishery's not as open as it once was, but we still go out and get them when we can, and we take lunch very seriously. So it's always nice. We eat good around there, that's for sure, and then have fun catching them too.
Ashley, I pulled around the corner, and there were 2 things that stand out. Race car haulers everywhere, and then I walked over, and it was an open fire pit grill with the most incredible salmon on it. I don't know if I've ever eaten that good, Ashley.
So, Robbie, what you're saying is if this racing thing doesn't work out, you can still be a fisherman?
Yeah, that's right. I enjoy it. That's what I do probably most out of anything when I'm not racing.
So where do you fish for them? Is it in the Pacific Ocean? Is it in kind of the bay between the island there? Where do you fish for them?
We can go out in the bay here, but the fishery isn't really as open as it once was. They're trying to, regain the population and everything like that. But the Skagit River too, and it opens up for retention in, September type of time. And we go out there, and Mark's got a boat. We go up the river and catch and eat them just like everybody else. It's pretty big industry around here, and a lot of sports fishermen too.
Robbie, it's not like everyone else. We don't catch and eat salmon around here, okay? We have to go buy it from the store in those little packets. So, Ashley, do they have, Ashley in Mifflintown, do they have salmon that you catch and release, or are you buying in the packets as well?
I buy it in the packets as well. We do have river trout, though.
Yeah, I've become a little bit of a seafood snob. We're a little far from the ocean and anywhere else for me to really want to eat it. So I try and stay away from it unless it's here.
So, Robbie, you're from British Columbia, the island up there in Canada. Did you fish a lot from up there, or is that something that you just kind of caught on to in the last few years?
I did a little bit up there, but Mark Houston, he loves fishing. That's what he loves doing the most, probably now that he doesn't race. So whenever he wants to go, I'm always in, and we always go out and catch a lot of fish. And then the other guy that works at Sharks is Steve, and he loves fishing maybe more than Mark. So it's definitely a big pastime out here.
Really, truly is. It's neat. So you're on Vancouver Island, or you grew up on Vancouver Island. And to describe this, I went and looked at a map because I was trying to figure it all out. Okay, for us United States folks, you go to Seattle and then you go northwest, which just is kind of like, okay, you're way up there. From Canada, you're actually southwest part of Canada. You're an island, a big island. Not too far from Seattle, actually, there. What is the racing culture like there? I know you're a third-generation racer. How did you find your way into the motorsports world, though? Through family, but where did you race at?
Yeah, no, third generation. Both my grandfathers raced. There used to be a dirt track up there, Skagit Speedway, but that closed down. And then there was 2 pavement tracks up there, Western Speedway and Saratoga Speedway. But after 60-something years, Western Speedway closed down last year, so there's one left up there is Saratoga Speedway, and there's new ownership there, and they're doing a fantastic job. It's thriving, so it's still going strong up there. It's all pavement racing, pavement sprint cars and modifieds and all that. But I started racing quarter midgets in Langley, British Columbia, so quick little ferry ride over, and then I started racing at Deming Speedway, micro sprints and everything like that, and then moved to Skagit Speedway and ran a lot of dirt sprint car stuff and up and down the West Coast, California, everything like that, and then around, I think I was 16 or 17 at the time, and ran a couple pavement shows around here and ran the NSRA series one year. And I raced at Western Speedway a handful of times. I haven't quite made it to Saratoga yet, but I ran Western Speedway, and it was really cool. I never really raced in front of a hometown crowd, so it was really fun, and I got a couple wins there, and I'm pretty proud of those ones. It's cool to be able to race and win at places my grandfather did, and so did my father.
No doubt. You've had some success in the 360s, Robbie. In 2019, you were the youngest driver to ever win the Jim Raper Memorial at Skagit at 17. What's it been like? You've ran the ASCS tour with your own stuff. Talk about what that's like. And now actually, for lack of better terms, you show up with your helmet and you get to climb in a car that somebody crew chiefs for you. Is it a different mentality for you now?
Yeah, no, it is for sure. It's a little bit different. Obviously, I used to be the guy that, drove the truck, managed the finances, worked on the car, did it all. So it's nice. Me and Jason split the workload. It's usually just me and him. So he knows I'm not afraid to work on things and everything like that. But I don't miss driving the truck, that's for sure. So Jason does all the seat time there. But like I said, I'm not afraid to work on them, and I managed all my own stuff for a couple of years. So I think he knew that coming into it too, and he lets me have a lot of responsibility with the car, which I appreciate. I think I probably go a little stir crazy out there not being able to work on stuff.
That experience of hauling your own car around and doing all of that, especially with a team of Jason Sides, it's not like 3 hired mechanics of some of the big teams. That has had to been so valuable for you as you bring it to this program and as you continue to learn as a mechanic working on the cars as well as a driver.
Yeah, that was the thing. Is growing up, I've always worked on them. I'd stay down here and my dad would go home, so I'd maintenance everything, get it all ready to go for the weekend. So, and that's the thing, is I tried to learn as much as I could about the engines and everything like that. And I always thought, worst case scenario, if I couldn't hack it as a driver, I could always go be a crew chief or a car mechanic somewhere. So hopefully this driving deal works out for me.
So with that being said, is it more Jason's input when it comes to that car leaving to hit the track, or you kind of bounce ideas off each other? Who's really, at the end of the day, when the wrenches turn, who's the one calling the shots?
Yeah, no, it's a split decision. He obviously has a notebook 4 inches thick on what to do and everything like that. So, but again, we have 2 different driving styles. So we definitely bounce ideas back and forth, and we seem to be gelling pretty good so far. So, it's just kind of one of those deals. We got to learn each other. His cars were a little bit different than mine, so he knows stuff there, and then I know what I kind of want to feel in the car as well.
Well, Robbie, I'll tell you what, I've enjoyed chatting with you over the course of the last few years as we've seen you out at the racetrack, and I love that you've got this opportunity with Jason Sides. I think it's a really good combination. I can't wait to see what you do this year as you go for the first full season on the World of Outlaw Tour. Thanks for joining us here on Wing Nation, and we'll see you around the racetrack real soon, I'm sure.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
There we go. How about that? Robbie Price joining us here on Wing Nation. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit, continues on. So glad you've joined us. Ashley Stremme and Steve Post. And Robbie Price, seriously, dude, you catch and release salmon and catch and eat salmon. He did acknowledge afterward that he's a little bit of a seafood snob. I think the only exaggeration is a little bit. When you catch and release salmon, oh my gosh, no, catch and eat salmon, that's crazy. But Ashley, really, really fun catching up with him, that's for sure.
It is. I don't know a whole lot about Robbie. I know more than I did, but it's cool. He just seems like a down-to-earth guy who gets to jump in a sprint car. And honestly, I don't know if you'd even know that if you saw Robbie out at the grocery store where I'm buying salmon.
I thought it was a good pairing with him and Jason Sides, and after hearing on the way things work, I now know it's a good pairing with the two of them. I just think this is a great way for a young man to get with Jason Sides to go racing. A young man that's fielded his own cars, so he knows how to respect equipment and knows how to take care of things. So I'm really excited about Robbie Price and to see what they did. He was in one of the dashes. You talked about his success at Volusia. It's really, really cool. Speaking of success in Florida, the Daytona 500 was this past Sunday, Motor Racing Network. We were there. This thing, if Joey Logano would have entered the Chili Bowl, it looked like the Chili Bowl or a sprint car feature. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Alex Bowman, all going for it. Larson got booted out and got into the fence. Bell was third, Bowman was fifth, and how about Ricky Stenhouse Jr.? He's a Daytona 500 champion, Ashley.
It's awesome for our sport. I mean, we've talked about the crossover for the last couple of years, and we know that dirt is becoming more widely viewed by asphalt racers. But when Ricky even mentions it in his winning interview that, you know, he's running with a fellow dirt racer. It just doesn't get any cooler than that. I mean, he's a team owner with the World of Outlaws. I mean, he still races. I'm going to be selfish for 1 minute, though, Steve. I know we talked to him in the past, and his plans for this year were kind of unknown, and he had hinted around that him and his dad were going to go back dirt racing more. Unfortunately for him, or for me, unfortunately, it didn't work out because I'd like to see him back in a sprint car more often. But fortunately for him, he's now a Daytona 500 champ.
Yeah, and I'm not sure he's given up. He's got 360 motors. They're still looking around for a 410 motor to go run some high-limit races. But his dad, Big Rick, okay, I'm sitting in victory lane. Ricky's out on the front stretch. I'm just kind of there waiting for it all to happen, taking it all in, listening to our interviews with our second-place finishers and third-place finishers. And the next thing I know, I am from behind me, a guy grabs me, and I didn't even see who it was, but I could tell the guy has done something with his hands his whole life, which is build engines. Big Rick grabbed me and gave me a big old bear hug from behind, and I turned around and saw him, and proud dad. And Ashley, this is just a great story because Big Ricky Sr., they're from Olive Branch, Mississippi, and Big Rick got Ricky started in racing. They ran 360s and midgets, and Rick took his boy as far as he could take him, and that was far enough, apparently.
It sure was. 2003 National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Rookie of the Year. He got the attention of Tony Stewart, and that's when Ricky's career kind of took off. He went USAC, had a USAC midget ride, and that's the beginning of where the Daytona 500 champ is now. Just really cool. Roush Fenway Racing with ARCA 2008. He had 2 wins. NASCAR Xfinity Series 2011, 2012 Series champ. It really, honestly, I didn't even think about that till I started looking back on some of it, just because I look at Ricky as one of the guys at the dirt track.
Yeah, you see him as one of our guys, just one of the guys he and I were in the pits at the NASCAR races, and we're just talking sprint car racing. You know, what Sheldon did, what this one did, and everything. He's the 42nd driver. When you think about it, only 42 drivers in all of motorsports have won the Daytona 500. Ricky Stenhouse is one of those. He snapped a 199 race win drought by picking up the win, and he is now a Daytona 500 winner. 3rd career win in the Cup Series. As you mentioned, he is the co-owner of Stenhouse Marshall Racing with Sheldon Haudenschild. And like I said, now he ran Volusia a few weeks ago at his 360. I think, and there might be a little bit more money in the budget to go buy a 410 engine. We'll see what happens, but I know he loves when he gets to sling some dirt as well.
Steve, real quick, wasn't his dad the one that was locked outside of the track at his last win at Daytona?
Yeah, when Ricky won his career first Cup race, his dad had to break his way into the racetrack to get to victory lane. No problem for Big Rick getting to victory lane at Daytona this time. We appreciate Robbie Price joining us here today on Wing Nation. More important than that, though, thank you for joining us here this week.